All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this Build With Me webinar. We're going to be looking at Tonal's Team Hub, how to build your own Team Hub as well. And we'd love for you, if you haven't already, to hop into the doc that we promoted in the on top of the video. Let me see if I can promote it again. There we go. Thanks, Emily. So we'd love to just get to know you a little bit, where you're from, what role you have at your current company, and where you're at with your Coda skill. And then at the same time, once you check in, you're going to be automatically given an imaginary $100 to allocate across your top priorities for your team operating system. And so this is actually like a little exercise we like to do internally at Coda for prioritization. And so what it's going to look like is basically just spreading your dollars across these different categories. So I can show you here, let's say I need help with presentations, planning presentations, and personal productivity, and let's see, some communicating and logging decisions. And how much do I have left? I've got like 30 left. So organizational alignment and maybe, yeah, that's pretty much it. So basically take the next minute or so to do this. You'll see up here just how many dollars you have left remaining. And then we'll come back in about a minute and I'll show some like live answers here as well. All right, so I'll see you in a minute. And I'm going to check mine. All right, and while folks are doing this, I can introduce myself and our guest speaker for today. I'm Rachel. I'm a solutions architect here at Coda. And I'm joined here by my colleague and friend, John. John, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm also a guest speaker. Thanks Rachel. So I'm John. I'm a solution architect here, and I partnered with organizations like Snap and Tonal and Spotify and Qualtrics to build out not only team operations like you'll see here today, but also department and company-wide. So very excited to show the atomic unit of what it might look like to move your team over to Coda and bring everything together, but also happy to answer any like larger system-wide questions as well today.
Awesome. Thanks, John. So it looks like we have some votes here. Project tracking is a top priority for folks, prioritization, strategic planning, road mapping. Cool. We'll continue to just make your decisions here. And we're going to come back to this throughout the presentation and definitely in the Q&A. And just kind of to give you an overview of today, especially if you're new to the whole concept of team hubs, don't worry at all, because in the next half hour, you'll be going through a little case study from a friend at Tonal who built an amazing product team hub. And then we're going to do a live build. John's going to do a live build actually, and then we're going to answer your questions. And so feel free to like comment, add your questions in the questions tab or the chat, and then we'll save them for the end. And so to get you introduced to Tonal's Team Hub story, we actually have compiled a few little clips from an interview that we did with him. And so let me just share that video with you, and I'll see you in a couple minutes.
The first doc that I actually started working on at Coda was a content hub for every person within that workflow, and there are at least 12 different steps in that workflow. Every person has a different view and different parameters that they care about. I tried to solve this with other tools. The closest that I got was within a spreadsheet. I created one giant roadmap blueprint. It basically looked like a paint by numbers if you zoomed in. It was fickle, but it stood. we missed a deadline on something and I had to adapt, and everything fell apart. Like, I couldn't be nimble in my own view. I realized that my change wasn't properly communicated to the person 2 streams down. Coda is all about starting small and iterating as you go. There's probably 20 to 25 views of one table in this doc. And that's just because it passes through so many hands. There's no other tool that could do this as seamlessly as Coda. And fast forward those 6 years, I saw the magic in the interconnectedness of everything and making sure, again, all the data that you have is in sync, and stripping away the stuff that isn't imperative to the consumer, I think, is equally as important, so they don't get inundated with information that isn't important to them. It's almost like a double-edged sword where we all know that the best product and really the best business is built on heavy collaboration, but the more collaboration and the more collaboration points, the higher the risk of misalignment. But I think the bigger, more ominous employee cost is really the internal swirling and churn that leads to disengagement, that leads to morale taking a hit, which of course then affects productivity. And it's this whole flywheel. If we're looking at Coda as an alignment tool, who's it for? It's really for the health and the productivity of employees. We had this gap between the engineering team and the product team. We would create tickets, we would create epics within Jira, and then within Coda, we would say, okay, it's ready for development now. But we would either forget to or just overlook the fact that we had to do that as well within Jira. On a daily basis, there are so many field updates and data updates. You're lucky if you get to the end point and there aren't any inconsistencies. The burden is, a lot of that is actually thrown on the engineering team. They pick up work and it might be outdated information. They have to then go back and redo that work. That sucks for them. So now what we're able to do is create a view within Coda that shows all of our epics. We can do it in a nice roadmap, Gantt-like fashion. And as soon as something is ready for the next step, and you want that reflected in Jira, or you decide that you want to change the priority, but you also want that reflected in Jira, you can change that in Coda and that'll send the updates to Jira, and vice versa. And if something looks off base, then we can update that, we can have a conversation with the team and just flag those issues earlier. Two-way sync makes their job way easier.
Awesome. For those who haven't actually seen his template, I've just promoted in the bottom left corner here. And I'm going to quickly just walk through what it looks like. And so on the front page, it's a little snippet of his story, and then the case study essentially, and a little bit about like the before and after story. So you're welcome to dig into that later. But you can see here, Zach has a team wiki where he organizes all the important links and meetings and cadence for meetings. And then there's an exec dashboard that actually uses sync pages with Coda. So it's actually this doc, or this page is syncing into this doc for execs to look at. And these are actually coming from, all three of these pages are coming from 3 different docs. And then we have his planning section, which organizes both strategy memos, OKRs, and some page embeds from other tools like Figma and G-Sheets. And then we've got a roadmap section, which is one of his favorite parts of the doc, which he talked about near the end of the video, where he's able to sync in his Jira issues and connect things back to his roadmap. Another part that he really was kind of like the seed of this doc was the team syncs doc, where Zach is now able to gather all his team's agenda items rather than just going through like what he thinks the team wants to go through. He's able to collaborate on an agenda for meetings and save things for the future as well. And then lastly, he's got all his PRDs, all his team's PRDs organized by active and shipped PRDs. And then he's able to also have kind of like a template within a template where he wants his team to use like a consistent format for PRDs. And so he's able to iterate on this as well. And then there's a way for him to just quickly make copies for brand new PRDs. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to John to start showing us how do you actually build a team hub that you need to start from scratch and you need to see it build over time. So I'm going to stop sharing and hand it over to you, John.
Great, thanks, Rachel. Just watching that video again from Zach, one of the favorite quotes from there is, you can actually start small and build over time. So what Rachel just shared was the absolute inspiration after a year or two of having the team run out of the hub and making it feel really like an internal product. And you'll find that example here in the gallery, as well as the link that Rachel shared, along with other teams and how they're running out of Coda, not only with team hubs, but making decisions and prioritizing. So you'll find the full product team hub there. If you don't happen to be a product team, many folks aren't, you can go and check out sales team hubs or engineering or marketing team. There's almost an example for every single department and how you can run effectively using Coda for your team hubs. What Zach was saying, starting small or starting blank, that's what we're about to do for the next kind of 10 minutes or so. So what I'll do is I'll start with a blank Coda doc, and I'll build up a team hub and what it looks like if you were to evolve it over time. One of the first things that I love to do is name the doc Nothing Clever Today. Same with the icon, Nothing Clever, but you can add any icon. You can even put custom icons. So you can do things like upload your own logos for the team hub. And the first page is usually some sort of welcome page. We're going to come back to this a little bit later after there's something to welcome to, but right now it's just a placeholder. What you'll find here on the left-hand side is the ability to add new pages. So you can kind of think of these as tabs in a spreadsheet or pages within a binder. And you can rearrange these, drag them, move them, and even have nested pages. And so this becomes important when we do things like bring in all of our PRDs and have some sort of like structure along with it. Well, speaking of PRDs, let's pull them in. Commonly, we see teams moving over from something like Drive, Google Docs in the workspace. So you might see something like plans and notes and briefs and requirement documentation sitting here on this side. You can absolutely copy and paste. You can even embed these docs directly into your new team hub. What I'll show today, though, is how we can import all those in bulk. So I'll just go / and import for Google Docs, set up my connection, and then what it'll do is it's going to look for all my most recent Google Docs. I can search for them, but because I've opened these recently, they're showing up here, pretty easy to find. And I'm going to then import those. So what you'll see come over is essentially one for one what you would see over on the Google Docs side. So all the text is coming in, images as well. And I usually like to organize these. Zach and many teams like to as well. So I'll just put a top level PRD page here. And then again, I like to put some sort of icon to make it pretty and easy to navigate. So you'll now see these showing up underneath. All right, so let's take a look at the PRD itself, the next best program in this case. So we see text images coming through. Usually there's some sort of link that links out to like a Figma or a Miro or a Lucid within some of these technical requirement docs. And you can see here that you can display it as the URL, as you see in Google Docs, or you can start bringing in all this rich information directly into your write-ups. So here we have the entire page of the Figma design file showing up here, and it's embedded into the context of the write-up. So we can review, give access to even non-designers around the design mocks, but then have things like decisions and requirements floating around on the outside. If I were to head over here and take a look at what it looks like, so what I did was I just pulled the whole URL of the page. You can embed frames as well. So I can come in here, copy and paste this as a link, and then head over here into my PRD, put it in within an individual page here. So you'll see same sort of experience as before, and it's just going to show that individual frame if you want like a closer up mock for it. The last part is I can actually do a full page embed. So that same doc that we were looking at before, maybe I'll, again, pull it from the top, I'll embed it. And now this is more of like a high level vision of the entire program. People can come around, take a look at it. All right, so that's on the PRD and more of like the writing and the visual, more of the, like the product design side. Now let's go to more of the like tracking, reporting, and engineering and delivery side. So typically product teams will have some sort of goal system like objectives and key results. So we have plenty of templates for OKRs. I'm just pulling in one. You can also search all the templates here through insert and templates. So if you're using another goal framework like SMART goals, you can come over here and pull that into your doc and it'll show up as a way to get started. Usually one step down is all of our like projects and product roadmap and all the things that are on sort of that like initiative, almost like high level epic side. And so what we'll do is the same thing as before. We'll search for a product roadmap. I'll pull that right in here. And now what you'll see is a roadmap. We can shift and move the roadmap around. It'll update the table below. Same goes here. I can go and update the table and you'll see it shift on the view up above. Most of your teams probably won't have features that are called this. So commonly we see, again, folks using things like spreadsheets for their roadmaps. I just have a very simple one here. You can export this as a CSV and import it into Coda. You can copy and paste it. I just happen to have the CSV sitting on my desktop. So I'll come in here, take a look for that exported spreadsheet, and then go through and start importing it directly into this table here. And all I have to do, kind of similar to how you might set up another system, is I'm just taking the different fields from my spreadsheet, aligning them to this template. You can start seeing them all come in here. And I think that's about it. I'll import it. And now you'll see those program, promotion, coach merch show up from the spreadsheet before. I can then move it through the product development process here, and it's all aligning. Okay, so we have high level goals, we have our roadmap, and now we have the small level task or the issues or the smaller bugs that we have to work on. And commonly we see folks working out of Jira. This setup is almost exactly the same as linear if you're using another development bug tracker. And so what I'll do is I will add the Jira integration to my doc. And you'll see on the right-hand side here, the ability to, again, pull in templates. This time I'm actually just going to pull in a table of issues related to this team that I'm working with. And as that loads, we'll hop on over here to the board and just show you the loose structure. Usually there's a ton more issues than this. This is just a smaller example. And so we have some sort of process from to do all the way to review and deployed and launched. And what you'll see coming into the Coda side is just that. So what we first have to do is just say, hey, these are the fields that I want to pull in from Jira. If your instance of Jira is anything like our demo instance, there's probably hundreds of custom fields that maybe you don't care too much about, or Eng does, but product doesn't. And so we will create the issues table just with the pertinent fields. I'm going to turn on two-way sync so we can make any edits over here in the Team Hub and have that update over on the Jira side. And I'm just going to sync with one project. If I were doing higher level reporting, I might pull in multiple projects to report up to maybe like executive stakeholders. But since this is just my own Teams Hub, I'm just going to pull that individual project. So now what it's going to do is it's going to pull down a full list of all of the epics and issues. And what I can do is I can update the status here. It's going to update over here. I can shift anything I want over on the Jira side, and it's going to come in and update as well. And so I can manually refresh. I think the setting that I had put was it's going to, oh, here we go. So every hour it will automatically refresh anyways without me having to press that button. just like we saw on the roadmap side of having a feature list table and a Gantt chart, you can do the same because this is now a table that exists in Coda. You can view these issues in whatever sort of way that you want. So a lot of the times people just like to create a connected view and a Kanban board, which basically matches what folks would see over on the Jira side. So Kanban, timeline, calendar view, all really common ways to view those issues on the ticket level. Okay, let's organize this because it's getting a little bit messy. So we have Jira. I'll just pull that under here. This is now our timeline or our roadmap. And as promised before, we'll start organizing different pieces of this. So this welcome, I'm going to pull in some sort of like a homepage, the team links template I like a lot to show off who's who, where we meet, what to expect in here. And then most of these are just artifacts, not very many rituals or collaboration. So typically in some sort of team setup, we see like a stand-up, a weekly kickoff, a daily stand-up. So there's a bunch of different templates to help you either have async or live stand-ups directly within here, with the ability to link to any connected information within here. So I can mention any of the the Jira issues and comment directly on them. I can click in here and you can see the Jira issues. So now that everything's in the same place, we can start connecting the data with like both structured and unstructured updates all in one place. All right, Rachel, I think that was everything that I wanted to cover within that little 10-minute block. Anything that I missed?
I mean, I think that was awesome. There's tons of questions that
oh man, yeah,
I
see them
mostly are
coming in.
answered, but I think that was awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
So we'd love to transition now over to some live Q&A. For those who want to like come on stage, you're welcome to raise your hand. And if you do come on stage, we'd love for you to have camera on and introduce yourself a little bit. And Marcin, I do see your question about summing up the value of displaying Jira and Coda, so we can answer that as well. Actually, maybe we could start with that. John, did you want to answer that one?
Sorry, I'm scrolling all the way back up. Okay.
Oh.
So which question was it, Rachel? Sorry.
Oh, just the last one so far, by Marcin. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name properly.
Can you sum up what is the added value displaying Jira items in Coda?
Yeah.
That was it? Yeah. So two things. One is you can bring the two sides together so you don't have to context switch. So instead of having two tabs, you have one. Instead of jumping into the Jira board and then updating it on the other side with some of your documentation or rituals, you just have one place that you can go to. The second thing, and this tends to happen in bigger companies, is you don't have to give everyone a Jira license. So you can start pulling in all that live data. You can reduce a ton of your Jira seats for people who are just view or like very lightweight interaction with the tool, and have the core people using Jira, maybe some team PMs, definitely like TPMs or Eng over on the Jira side, and then give visibility to marketing, sales, etc., through team hubs and docs that are similar to that around progress that's coming directly from the development side.
Awesome. Thanks, John. It looks like we have a few more questions about Jira in the questions tab. I wonder not sure if we want to call these folks up on the stage or if we want to just quickly answer, answer live.
Let's invite. Happy to invite Molly.
Molly? Let's see.
All right, Molly, if you want to come on stage, we can chat about your Jira setup. All right, in the meantime, I'll read it. So Molly's question is, are these Jira integrations only possible if you have Jira Cloud? And while it is primarily designed for a Jira Cloud instance, because Code is online, Jira Cloud would obviously be online as well. We have a Jira data center integration as well. Hi, Molly. Can you hear us?
Molly.
Sorry, just figuring this out. That's wonderful news. Thank you so much for answering that question.
Yeah, absolutely. And just curious, Molly, what are you working on at New York Times, and how often do you hang out in Jira versus Coda?
I hang out in Coda more personally, but whenever I'm trying to create a team hub, a lot of my engineering team is saying, okay, but we also still have to go over to Jira. And so bringing things in and syncing them in real time is a wonderful feature that I haven't explored as much as some of the other features. So yeah, this is perfect.
Awesome. And I don't know if I can put it in, maybe I'll just drop this in chat. Here's the landing page, and Rachel might be able to find more details, but there's some information there about cloud versus data center.
Thank you very,
Great.
very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Molly. All right, and Arun, would you be able to invite up Rachel? I'll read their question and start answering. I would like to check how timeline and Jira project plan can be connected. All right, time to start sharing my screen, and we'll love more context on what you're building. Okay, so if we were to hop back to this team hub, and right now we have the roadmap items sitting here and the Jira items sitting here, and they're essentially connected in the fact that they're existing within the same doc, but they're not necessarily connected from a data perspective. So what you can start doing is, because tables in Coda act like relational databases, you can query other things within the doc. And so one thing I could do is I can just copy and paste. Jira issues would be like the very lightweight version. And so I can come in here, pull the URL, paste it in, and this becomes kind of like a little endpoint that I can then extend information off of. So I can add all the related items from Jira, like so. Alternatively, I can start connecting it. I think I called this the issues table. So I can directly connect issues if I add a new column here and connect as a relation. So now I can say this is maybe like the high level feature, and now I'm selecting all the issues that fall underneath it. If your roadmap item is actually like an epic level item, then maybe it's a one-to-one sort of thing. I can filter all the issues just to look at the epic level. Last thing I want to call out, it's probably easier if I just create a new doc, is the Coda Jira epics template will show you how to essentially wire up the two. So in this case, it's going to pull in all my projects. The roadmap is built off of your Epics roadmap. It's failing because it has a bunch of JQL in there to be able to surface this. And then issues then roll up into your Epics roadmap. So I think we can share that, Rachel, as the template. It might be better if we just show the example doc itself rather than try to build it from scratch. So this is what the template looks like with all the kind of example data, where an epic here is the roadmap item. You can make updates, and then all the issues flow up to it. So you're essentially recreating the UI and the workflows on the Jira side.
Yeah, I'll add a Jira Sig tutorial link in here as well, and also put it in our resources page. But I know we're at time, so unfortunately we can't take any more questions for now. But thank you everyone for joining us today. I know we packed quite a bit in for the 30 minutes. But we'll be following up with you with all the resources we talked about and more. And we hope to see you at some upcoming webinars. So thanks, everyone. See you again soon.
Thanks
Bye.
so much.
Thanks, John.